I'm gonna just let you know I'm gonna go like 40 minutes today because I got something to do at 8. So like I gotta.
Yeah, for sure.
Up. But anywho, fellas. It's such a great time to be back with y'all, man, because there's so many things going on in the world. But you know what serves as a great distraction at all times?
I say sports.
Sports, man. It keeps us distracted.
It was a good sports weekend for sure.
And listen, it was a great sports weekend, honestly. But there are some questions that need to be asked about some of these sports, about sports in general, that like I don't think people are ready to get into yet. I just don't. I think that there are some things happening right now that, you know, folks are trying to keep low key, trying to keep quiet, that I don't know. It might be getting too loud. But with that being said,
we talked about the TikTok sounds a couple weeks ago.
Wow. Well, I mean, hey, speaking of the TikTok sounds, now
they get already. Y'all done got them started in the chat already. They talking about I'm trying to do some things to Angel Reese. Oh,
Lord Jesus, man. Lord Jesus. That brother starving. Yeah, me too. Let's go get something to eat. Anyway, I'm gonna start with this though. Y'all saw the first pitch from Megan Thee Stallion, and I think that we all thought that it was an amazing first pitch. She should throw every first pitch for the Astros. I don't think that they should ever.
Thirsty Tuesdays.
All jokes aside, she did throw a better first pitch than like 95% of celebrities, though.
Listen, I mean, who's a better ambassador for the city of Houston at large? You know, I mean,
I ain't got an answer for you.
If I got to see her throwing the first pitch in week number 2 of baseball, I'm going to be livid, bro. I ain't going to lie. I get it. But we done seen that first pitch all week, all last week. We done seen that first pitch a minute now, Gibbs.
Christopher all right. Alex, I don't care how mad you are. I don't give a damn. You could be upset, angry, livid, downright pissed off. If she want to throw another first pitch, I will fight the entire city.
You know, I'll take it even a step further. All right, Chris, you say you would be upset about that, right? You know who Megan Thee Stallion is. Name me 3 Houston Astros.
Oh, Verlander not an Astro no more.
Nope.
I don't keep up with baseball no more though. That's me.
Have her out there until week 50. Game 153.
I named 20.
Absolutely hate that. So, fellas, let's get into it, man. Let's really get into some of these things that's happening around sports as of late, because you know, we got to talk about the Women's National Championship first, because that game broke all types of records, all types of you know, viewership records for ESPN, for college basketball, for women's college basketball. 9.9 million viewers. And of course, LSU came away with a 102-85 win, but the talk of the town, what everybody was mentioning and you know, what everybody wanted to talk about was the Angel Reese, You Can't See Me, and all that to Caitlin Clark. Fellas, what was y'all thoughts about it? What were your thoughts?
Man, it's a number of things. One, I do want to get on this platform and say, like, I know in the Facts Over Racks podcast, I don't say we shy away from controversial topics, but at the same time, we usually keep things pretty sports related. But I don't know why I am still shocked living in this country that like everything turns into a debate about race, or everything is so skewed from a white perspective in the media. When we talking about a women's basketball game, and it's usually from people who haven't played sports. Chris, you play sports. Gibbs, you play sports. I play sports. Let's say last Tuesday, we not even professional players. Let's say last Tuesday, y'all was getting an open run at LA Fitness, and Chris, somebody was talking to you crazy. What you gonna do next Tuesday when you get them buckets?
I'm gonna talk crazy back.
Is that not
crazy back?
I'm trying to understand how we live in a world to where this is even a conversation. Caitlin Clark been talking crazy all season. She took an L with a national championship, and a star player from the other team was talking crazy to the girl that's been talking crazy all season, and her team couldn't back it up. Let's not mention the fact that Iowa and Maryland are in the same division, and this is the first year that Angel Reese was on LSU because she transferred from Maryland. When they were both in her freshman year and Caitlin Clark gave Maryland 40, do you know how crazy she was talking to Angel Reese?
Oh,
So the fact that she did this, what's the big deal to begin with? Like I'm not understanding how we live in a world to where the bigger conversation we should be having is, this is good for women's basketball. This is the most excited I've seen anybody about women's basketball, at least in the past 20 years. Since Swing Cash and Cheryl Swoops and Lisa Leslie was hooping, this is the most excited I've seen anyone about women's hoops. That should be the conversation. And also, I don't know how we're having tons and tons of media, ESPN, Fox Sports. I see Caitlin Clark on every channel. She didn't win the game. Can y'all give me one national sports media coverage that you've seen on Angel Reese where they're giving her an interview outside of the post-game interview that she had when she won the game?
I ain't seen it.
Caitlin Clark was on ESPN today.
Yeah, I seen one, but she was just basically explaining why she did what she did.
I mean, can I say something real quick right here? I look at this and I just laugh because this is, the way that people are talking about this and the overshadowing and Caitlin Clark is not only the better sportsman, she's the better player. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are different types of players. Caitlin Clark for sure broke a record and all that good stuff for the amount of points scored in the tournament. Great, good for her. Angel Reese made history as well during the tournament with the most ever double-doubles in the season. Mm-hmm. Most ever. That means the level of consistency, game in, game out. This ain't just I got hot at the right time. This is I showed up every single night. You can count on me for at minimum 10 and 10. At minimum. What are we really doing here? And I'm gonna say this as well. I think it's very embarrassing for us as a country that we can't enjoy good, exciting sports. I think it's embarrassing for us as a country at multiple levels. The way that Angel Reese is being treated, embarrassing for us as a country. The way that people talked about Cam Newton and how he wore his fits, but now all of a sudden Joe Burrow is, he's so swaggy. Look at his outfits. Embarrassing as a country. The way people talk about Lamar Jackson and how could you ever give him a contract? What's his playoff record? What's Justin Herbert's? And I guarantee you, when it's time for his contract, people are going to be screaming at the Chargers if they don't give him the earth, the moon, the stars, and everything in between. When objectively speaking, who would you rather have? Hollywood Brown, the Willie Snead, Mark Andrews, or Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, Austin Eckler? What are we doing here? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. A 32-year-old Mark Ingram.
And I'm not the hugest football fan in the world, Gibbs. I feel like that's more your bag. But I recall specifically people commending Phillip Rivers on how much he talked trash during the game.
And you know what's crazy to me? You know what's really crazy to me? The way that people say, it was just classless of her to talk after the game's already secured and all this and all that. When have we not seen that?
We always have.
And let's talk about the intersectionality of it a little bit, because Steph Curry, he don't do that put him to sleep thing when it's the middle of the second quarter. He only does it when the game is basically over and he hits a big shot. That's when he gonna do it. That's when they're going to do it. He's saying, I put the opponent to bed. And yet we have a problem. Again, this is great for the sports, great for the sport. We need to let her cook. Because let me ask y'all this. We're talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, right? Y'all two, name me any two players from the men's national championship. Any two players. I can name them only because I've had to cover college basketball at a high level this year, and like I know. But go ahead. You said
I got the answer for you.
You got Ledee for San Diego State. That's his last name. And then
what's his first name, Chris? We are naming these women by first and last name. You got to drop both.
It's Jeremy Ledee, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And who else?
Kemba Walker still play for UConn?
No. It's Angel Reese's cousin. I can't think of his name though. Angel Reese's cousin do play.
Yeah, her cousin does play for UConn. He won a national championship too.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? And guess who the star of the show is? Title IX is doing just fine, folks. It's working. It is very apparently working. But this is my point. Let these players cook. Let these players talk their trash, be controversial, be who they are, be the big personality. Because at the end of the day, people are forgetting that sports is entertainment. That's the whole deal about this thing. Sports is entertainment. That's why every sports rules are meant to create more scoring and all that. It's made for entertainment. And in the words of I believe it was Russell Crowe in Gladiator, are you not entertained? I was thoroughly entertained by that. So, that's my 2 cents on it. Chris, go ahead.
Personally, I honestly, I agree with y'all wholeheartedly, but I honestly think they doing this on purpose to kind of build that drama behind it, because drama sells. We all know drama sells. They got every Love is Blind, Perfect Match, Married at First Sight show out there that none of the couples even stay together, rarely ever stay together. But the drama is what gets people to continue to get views on these shows. So I honestly think they made this big commotion. One, because Caitlin Clark is on the other side. That's the best word I'm gonna say. She on the other side, and it looks like bullying when we do that to them, but when they do that to us, it looks like that's how society's supposed to be. But anyway, I digress. But I think they kind of let this drama just build up to build that narrative. Like, okay, it's drama in the women's basketball. These girls coming out of college at the same time, they probably could have this drama go all the way through when they get to the WNBA. You know what I mean? So I think they purposely doing this to try to build and raise some awareness to women's basketball and try to build the sport up from the college level to translate to the WNBA level. Personally.
Again, I'm a huge believer, and at the end of the day, to let people do what's going to be most entertaining. Let people do what's going to be most fun. As long as you aren't putting anybody's long-term health at like very serious danger, let them do it. And if somebody getting some stuff talked to them is the worst thing that we got going on, y'all will be okay. Y'all are big kids. Y'all are big boys. Y'all are big girls. Caitlin Clark didn't even have a problem with it. And let me tell you this. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm not going to say anything threatening or bad about this woman because obviously the Secret Service would be at my door. But Jill Biden ought to be ashamed of herself, saying, the game was so good, I wish Iowa could come to the White House too. Baby, that's not how it goes. The losers stay home. The losers stay home. That's the reality. The second place don't get to come. When the Warriors was winning all them chips, they didn't say, LeBron broke so many records in this finals, he needs to come on. Come on, Bron. Come to the White House. No. Either you won and you go or you stay home. That them's the rules. When do we start changing the rules around? Like, what's going on here?
Because they try to deem LSU as a HBCU now. When I just showed y'all some whole car evidence that
Iowa, the University of Iowa has more black students than LSU, which Chris did tell us. He did.
Iowa has more black students.
Every black woman at that school might have been on the team.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very, very possible.
And we not gonna act like LSU just got this clean track record. Like, they just let black people in the 60s. Let's be honest.
There is a reason why there are so many HBCUs in Louisiana, as well as why Louisiana's incarceration rate is what it is, because who's predominantly going to be incarcerated, so on and so forth, all that good stuff. Sure. And that's crazy to me. And the craziest part of all this to me, somebody said, like, we need to see a meme of the little dominoes of, like, all the things that led up to this. And I'm like, if Tony Yayo is responsible for starting a race war in 2023, how hard is that going to be to describe to our children? Yeah. So it all started back with G Unit, and I'll teach you how to stunt. Okay, and he was doing this thing, and it evolved, and then some wrestler took it, and John Cena. Where's John Cena from? He's from like what, Massachusetts?
West Newbury, Massachusetts.
Yeah, ooh,
Right down the street from me, actually.
The tough streets of West Newbury, which was the school of hard knocks, which taught him the
basic
UKCB.
thugonomics.
Basic thugonomics. Honestly, that was probably one of the biggest things that had me done with wrestling. Like, not even joking. Like, his character was just so unbelievable. I was just like, what is this, bro? Like, what are we doing here?
So when I was a kid, I was like, this is kind of fire. But now that I'm older, in hindsight, still fire. I got me a Hustle, Loyalty, Respect t-shirt right over there.
Have some self-respect, brother. Have some self-respect. I couldn't do it. But anywho, I digress. Again, let these players talk their trash. Every sport is better when players talk trash. The World Baseball Classic was better than an average MLB game. Why? Because the bat flips were insane.
Yeah.
The celebrations were insane. Them players was not, I got a 0-3 count. I'm not supposed to swing at this pitch. We're up 5, and that's a 0-3 count. I'm supposed to let him get a strike. You're going, my brother in Christ, I'm taking you yard. If you serve up a meatball, that's what's happening. And yet we got to sit up here, we got a golf clap for every sport. It's a reason that golf claps are made fun of. Sports are meant to be passionate, in your face, loud, aggressive, what you going to do about it. And again, like we've all talked about, there have been multiple players in women's basketball to be that way. I watched ACC basketball all year. Haley Van Lith was that way all year when she was talking to players in the ACC when Louisville got hot. She was like that. What are we doing here? This is part of the game. Let's let it go. Let's get our panties out of a bunch. And again, it's embarrassing as a nation, especially for a certain group of us who, when people talk about Americans, they think of y'all and not us. It's really, really embarrassing that all it took was somebody doing this and this to get y'all seething and foaming at the mouth. I can't believe it. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Do better. Love yourselves better. Do more. And now on the men's side, we have to talk about Angel Reese's cousin because UConn won a national championship over San Diego State. And by the way, Chris, the name that you were looking for, the gentleman's name is Jordan Hawkins. That's the gentleman's name. Yeah. So, that's her cousin, and he had himself a pretty good game, 16-4. Adama Sanogo, who's my guy that I watched all year and was like, oh, he's different. He's one of them. He had himself a great game with a 17-10 as well. Fellas, let me ask y'all this, right? We're all excited for UConn. More power to them. Let me ask you this. All in all, has women's college basketball surpassed men's in popularity? Is that something that has happened?
For college, I would say temporarily yes right now, because I would even say before we got to the Elite Eight of this women's tournament and things really picked up steam where we were looking at LSU and Iowa to potentially go against each other. The men's tournament had a lot more attraction. And also we talked about on the show last week, I believe, how the men's side is losing traction because of players going international, players going straight to the league. So it wasn't really that big college star this year. But overall, unless we get a repeat of, you can say the quote unquote drama that's ensuing right now between those two women, I don't think that's a pattern that's going to repeat.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what you thinking?
Absolutely not. You got to remember, this tournament was very, very different. You had no University of Michigan in this tournament. You had North Carolina Tar Heels in this tournament. This tournament was way different. You had so many teams that were good out of nowhere that popped up. Look at Florida Atlantic. Yes, they were seeded wrong because they did have a fantastic season, but who would have thought they made it to the Final Four? Mm-hmm. Not me. But so when those teams, get their turnarounds or get some players in there that's actually going to play for the whole year and, not try to go overseas and then go to the draft, then I think it'll be back to normal. And then a lot of the upsets was not be upsets because there'd be a lot more rivalry games in play. Like Kansas State, Marquise Noel. Before the women's, Marquise Noel was the talk of college basketball. Let's not forget. Marquise Noel was 5'8", giving people 18 and 20 a game. He broke the assist record for college basketball in the tournament. Mm-hmm. So it's going to take more of those performances from the men's because this year was an outlier year. I feel like this was one of the lowest viewed because a lot of people didn't know any of the players because they weren't on the big name teams other than UConn historically. So no, I don't even think it's close, honestly. This year's an exception.
I'm going to tell you what has happened, and some people are going to be mad at me for saying this. The incentive for the best players to go is a big part of it, but also the stuff that we're talking about today is an even bigger part of it. Women's college basketball is going to be more popular than men's next year as well. There are too many big characters. There are too many big storylines. There's too much of all those things. It's not going to be close until we get some swinging back. I'm going to tell you this. I hated Coach K. Like, I really hated Coach K. Still do. Still, like, it's not like I respect him as an ambassador again. If I could say what I want to say, I would lose our clean rating if I said what I wanted to say about Coach K. I don't like him. I don't like any of his players.
Water it down for us.
If I was in the BET special, they would say, man, forget that brother. That mother brother. Him and his mother-loving brothers don't be following the rules. So forget him. That's what it would sound like if I was on the BET. But I can't, everything about him. You hear stories from like other teams who are like in that time that like were like, yo, we didn't have replay and review back then. But if there was a call that went against Duke and Coach K greatly disagreed with it, he would grab a ref by the collar or by the shirt, walk him over to the monitor, and like they would watch it together and the call would get reversed in Duke's favor. Before they had replay. At a time when a ref called something, it stood. So like I've always hated him. But at least like because you hated him, you wanted him to fail, you were like, all right, I'm going to watch. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have those types of personalities in college sports, in men's college basketball anymore. Dawn Staley and her crew, you hate them if you're not them. Most people hate them. Oh my God, you trot out a lineup of 4 6-foot players in women's basketball? That's crazy. That is crazy. Every shot got to be 5 feet away from the basket. It's crazy work. But guess what? It works for them. And Dawn going to speak her piece, and she going to speak it clear. And she going to say what she got to say. Y'all, I mean, Jim Boeheim, retired. Roy Williams, retired. Coach K, retired. Izzo, the door, he knocking on the door. He is knocking on that door of retirement. Like, hey, big dog, like y'all come let me in the party.
What's in that? And then on top of that, the transfer portal for men's is just like, bruh. Like think about it. Imani Bates had a career year, like for a college basketball standpoint, but he transferred to Eastern. If he was to stay at Memphis and do that, we would have been talking about Imani Bates all year long. Literally all year long.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, the men's game does not have players sticking around long enough. They don't have the type of personalities on the sidelines or on the court for the most part to where you want to talk about them. Like what? Again, I can't name any notable or like really outlandish storylines. Like even if we take away this Caitlin Clark one, the whole Haley Van Lith and old girl from Texas situation. Like what people don't realize is she also ended that girl's season when she played at DePaul. That is like, ooh, this is big time TV. This is the stuff you want to watch. The men's players, who's the best trash talker in the game right now? Who would even be top 3, top 2, anybody in that? You don't know.
No.
You just don't know. They have to do a better job of all the leagues that are uber successful. They do a great job of advertising their stars, or else it's football. That's it. You're either football or you advertise your stars well. The leagues that are struggling fail to advertise their stars. Men's basketball is failing to advertise those stars. Therefore, women's basketball, you're going to know who the major players are. You're going to know who Aaliyah Boston is, the Aaliyah Bostons of the world are. You're going to know who the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses are. You're going to know. But with men's, you just don't see the same thing. So if men's want to get it together, y'all better advertise them stars or y'all gonna run into some problems.
One last thing on this, we can move on.
Oh, go ahead.
You remember the year that Kentucky beat LSU and the beef that Lonzo and De'Aaron Fox had. That wasn't that long ago, right?
Right.
That's still a thing in the league, but we just don't have those type of two players that had that narrative. Like Lonzo had LeVar Ball talking him up to the world, saying he was better than Steph Curry. De'Aaron Fox was like, no, I'm really better than Lonzo. So when he met Lonzo, he put 40 on Lonzo's head. You know what I mean? He went after Lonzo. So we just need some more of that, pretty much. I mean,
and that's my point. That's the greatest thing that LeVar Ball ever did, bro. It does not matter. There are casual sports fans who know who LiAngelo Ball is. That is his greatest accomplishment. If there is nothing else written on Var's gravestone, that should be it. People knew who Jello was. Because with all due respect, Jello ain't pissed a lick except in the summer league.
Yeah.
With all due respect, if he didn't steal out there in China and then snitch on his teammates, we would have never, except for his dad talking him up. Yeah, Melo the best of the three, but Lonzo the smartest, and Jello, oh, he the best shooter by a mile. He the best. He ain't never lost a shooting competition. He ain't never lost. We don't have that no more. We need more LeVar Balls. We need more, you know what I mean? We need them. We need them. We need them. A Julian Newman that's 6 inches taller. We need that. We need that in this men's college game. Or else we're going to continue to see, okay, wait, who's in the championship again? Well, I might want to get around to it. That's what you see. That's just the reality of what's going to keep happening there. But, fellas, we got to get to y'all sport now. We got to get to the baseball diamond, okay? Because folks are getting mad at this pitching clock. They saying that, we not in the minor leagues. We shouldn't have no pitcher's clock. Manny Machado already got suspended or got ejected over a pitching clock discrepancy.
Yep.
How do y'all feel about the pitching clock so far in this MLB season?
So I'm a bit of a traditionalist in the sense when it comes to baseball. When I say that, I'm not one of the people that you're going to see on television like, oh man, he's not playing by the unwritten rules, or he did a bat flip. When I say that, baseball is a sport that you have to consume every part of your life in order to be good at baseball. Mm-hmm. Basketball, I say, is the sport that's probably easiest for casuals to pick up. I mean, you got people who's in an MVP race like Giannis and Joel Embiid who didn't pick up a basketball until they were late in high school. Football is a little tougher just because I feel like football takes a little more mental depending on what position you're playing. But if you're a physical freak of nature, you can still get into football later in life and be good at it.
Absolutely.
Baseball is something that you have to, it moves so fast, the pitches are so fast, the ball comes at you so fast. That's something that you have to be used to from a very young age and see that progression through speed, progression through pitchers, progression through how you're coached. I mean, I'm sure Chris can attest to this. Chris, how many times in baseball have you caught a line drive, and it's not because you saw the ball, it's because you've been playing baseball for so long, it was instinct. The human eye can't even process a 105-mile-an-hour ball getting hit at your face.
Yeah, it's pure instinct. Especially me being a pitcher, when the ball gets shot back to the pitcher,
yep,
you just instantly just reach out and grab it. Like, you don't even know you did that.
You get used to a system, you get used to a repetition, you get used to playing a certain way, and asking people who've been playing baseball for 20 plus, 30 plus years to, you got to play this way now, otherwise you'll get a strike. This will cost you the game. Manny Machado got called out on a strikeout late in the game in a close game. Mm-hmm. The third pitch, they called that a strike, and it was because he waited too long to get into the batter's box. That's part of his routine. That's how he plays the ball. I think we're going to see some star players with some drastic numbers dip this year. I think we're going to see a lot more pitchers get hurt, and that's going to hurt baseball, which is directly counteracting what it is that you're trying to do. And it's not making sense because the games on average are 31 minutes shorter this year than they were last year. And I don't Gibbs, when the last time you've been to a baseball game?
It's been years, dude. It's been a legit year.
Do you find it fun? Like, do you have fun at a baseball game, or you going just being a son?
Like a game that I was covering, like as a reporter?
No, as
like
a fan, you sat down at an MLB game.
Oh, it's been over a decade. It's been well over a decade.
And why is the reason you don't go?
I mean, it's slow and it's hot. I don't like getting in large crowds. It's very slow.
So if you were able to leave a half hour faster, would that make you say, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and start going to baseball games"?
Absolutely not.
However, if you knew the final score to that baseball game, you were going to see some souped up pitcher either throw a perfect game. You're going to see 3, 4, 5 hitters in a rotation on both teams, maybe hit multiple home runs. Would that make you a little more excited to go?
Oh, for sure.
If you saw teams going at it, if you saw a bat flip, if you saw some animosity, if you saw some animation, if you saw some swagger from the players, would that make you more inclined to go?
Listen, you know me in a bat flip. I love me a bat flip. I'm confused why everybody doesn't bat flip after home run, because the way they call it pimping a home run, which is a very strange term for it. But anyway, the way I would pimp a home run, they would be calling me Don Magic Wine. You understand? Hey, this is the dog father trying to see you after I hit a home run. But, I digress. Absolutely, I'd be there for that.
Yeah, so that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't think that the pitch clock is a good idea. You're asking players to throw off their rhythm of how they've been playing a sport that they are professional at for, in most cases, over a decade. Chris, I'm sure you played baseball for over a decade. I for sure played baseball for over a decade. And let's say Chris, you made it to the major leagues at age 26 after being in the minor leagues. And they were like, yeah, change how you've been playing since the age of 5. That's not a good idea.
No, I mean, every level that I've played in baseball, they ask you to tweak some things, for perfection. But this, let me tell you what this does. This eliminates the whole idea of baseball to me. Baseball is the thinkies man game, right? So what I mean by that is, in high school when I played at Castle Pharmacy High School. Basically, if the pitcher's sitting at the mound holding the ball for a long period of time, it's to make the batter get in his own head. Because I pitched, I used to do the same thing. My coach used to tell me to do that, right? I'm getting in his head by standing up there. He thinking, okay, he got 2 strikes on me. It's 3 people on base. It's 2 outs. He gonna probably try to go give me a curveball and make me chase it. And I'm just gonna sit there and let him get in his head. Then he gonna call timeout. And then he gonna go back up there. Then I'm gonna wind up as soon as he step back in there before he even get out his own head. Strike him out. You get what I'm saying? And everybody gonna be like, oh, he got out that jam. That was a great jam he got out of. Putting a pitch clock out there basically eliminates all that. Now I have to hurry up and throw the ball, and I have to hurry up and get this batter out of here, which to me defeats the purpose of having a thinkies man game.
No strategy. I know where you're throwing the ball now.
Right. So,
listen, stop road testing them players. That's how you get the game back. That's how you get it back exciting. I'm sorry to tell you. You can say what you want about those. Again, say what you want about those players that was juiced up. Say what you want about them. But again,
peep Aaron Judge on the stuff Barry Bonds was on.
Ooh, man,
we might see him every night.
He'll be smacking. That boy be smacking the white off the ball. Literally, by the time they leave the bat, just pure brown headed into the atmosphere.
Barry Bonds used to get intentionally walked with loaded bases.
Different. I'm different. Yeah, I'm different. That man was another level. But I mean, honestly, that's what they stop playing. When was your game most exciting? When were you getting the most viewers during the modern era? The proof is in the pudding, friends.
No, but we gonna change that. Gonna change
what?
No, that's what they said. This is getting too exciting. We're gonna change that.
It's 3 of us. We definitely can't change that viewer time back. Like, with all due respect, I'm not about to tell our listeners, hey, go to your nearest baseball stadium. Tickets are probably about what, $10? You can get a decent ticket for $10. Get you a nosebleed seat. And do the same thing that everybody else does. Nobody's going to show up, so get you a nosebleed seat to just get in the building. And then slide down to one of the closer seats. And then, I don't know, watch a 3-4 ball game with the Milwaukee Brewers playing. Ew!
Now,
that's gross.
Now, don't get me wrong. I am inclined to get hype at a baseball game, but that's because I love baseball. But I've taken a countless number of people to baseball games, and they looking at me like, yo, I can't even see the ball, bro. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I ain't going. You know, if you invite me to a baseball game, unless you got a suite or something where we gonna be inside and eating, I'm gonna be doing the same thing Chris doing right now. Hey man, you about ready to call it? Ken, it's a 1-1 game in the ninth. Yeah, so you ready to call it or what? I mean, let's go home.
Yo, I was up early for work, man.
You good? I understand. I'm just saying. I'm not about to be there. That's just not my steez, not my thing. Baseball, y'all know what y'all need to do to make the game back exciting. Stop playing. And now, to finish this thing off, we got to talk this NBA playoff race. Because, boy, it's heating up. It's heating up. I don't know how it happened. But, boy, this NBA playoff race has become something absolutely crazy. Fellas, on the West, we got the Nuggets out front. The Grizzlies in second, 3 games behind them. Kings slightly behind them. Those are the only teams that have clinched the playoffs in the West thus far. Then you got the Suns at 4, Clippers at 5, Warriors at 6. The Lakers half a game behind them at 7.
Ooh.
The Pelicans at 8. Again, and by the way, between the Clippers at 5 and the Pelicans at 8, it's a half a game between all those teams. The Clippers are 41-38, so are the Warriors. The Lakers and Pelicans are both 40-38. And then you've got the Timberwolves at 9, the Thunder at 10, the Mavs at 11, and the Jazz at 12. And those are pretty much the only teams that are like still in contention to get into the playoffs. Now, fellas, what do y'all think about the Mavs potentially shutting down Kyrie and Luka in search of a better pick? Do y'all think this is a coward move or should they go? What are y'all thinking?
Can I say I think it's both a coward move and a good move? Because
It can't be both.
I think it is. I mean, I do think that they're taking the easy way out because I want to see teams. I'm old school in the sense of I want to see teams play as hard as they can into the very last game of the season. But at the same time, this Mavericks team was never composed to succeed. They had a couple of pieces that would have been better rotation-wise than having Kyrie on the team. They gave up size. They gave up the little perimeter defense they had. They gave up spacing. Yes, Kyrie is a good shooter, but at the same time, you had players who you gave up, whose job it was to specifically catch passes from Luka and shoot the ball. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to take a risk that big, I want to see you play out as long as you can. And also, that's good basketball, regardless of, how successful they'll be, regardless of how bad the rebounding is, the defense is. You want to see Luka and Kyrie in the playoffs.
Right.
But at the same time, the Mavericks, they need to go get defense. They need to go get rebounding. It's no reason that your best defender is a Dwight Powell. Like, that's not a recipe.
Powell got Hall of Fame anchor on, bro. What you talking about?
I might turn this game on and see what badges that man got.
I'm joking. He definitely does not have the Hall of Fame.
So I would like to see them work this experiment out to the end of the season, although the Mavericks only have 5 games left. Mm-hmm. But go ahead and shut it down. You need to retool because it's only a short window that y'all have on this experiment.
I would just love to say that of all my takes, there are 3 that have aged like fine wine. Number 1, that Matt Rule was going to Nebraska. Actually, no, that would be number 2. No, that would be number 3, actually. Number 2 would be Kyrie being the worst superstar of the 2010s. I told everybody that, and they said I was crazy. They said I didn't know what I was talking about. I said Kyrie makes every team he goes to worse because of who he is, his playing style. And here's the worst part. Kyrie never leaves amicably in free agency. He only did so one time. Every other time that he switched teams, it's been mid-season. I don't want to be here anymore, which means in order to acquire him, you have to do what? Give up lots of capital to get him.
Yeah. I can't put the blame on how poorly this team is performing on Kyrie though. Kyrie is doing exactly what they brought him in to do, just like this Mavericks team right here. Just watching the games, because I mean, even if you look at the analytics, they're the second to worst team in the league defensively this entire season. But just watching the games, I don't think I've ever seen a worse interior defense team.
It's not. I have never, yes, I've always said that Kyrie was the worst superstar of the 2010s in terms of impact that he has on teams. But I have never put the onus on solely Kyrie anywhere that he's gone, because if you decided to take that on as an owner, GM, whatever, that's on you, brother.
Yeah.
If you're dumb enough to give up that much for him, that's on you. Hey, man, Kyrie won out. What you want to give for him? A second round pick and our third big man, who we just signed on a two-way. What you mean? That's what I'll give up. All right. I'll be generous. I give y'all Reggie Bullock. There you go. Straight up. Reggie Bullock for Kyrie. Straight up. That's all I'm going to give you. That's all I'm going to give you.
Y'all going to call me an absolute madman for saying this. Depending on what system that team is playing, Reggie Bullock might be a better, long-term asset to have at Kyrie.
I don't disagree. And again, people they're gonna say we crazy. They're gonna say y'all are Kyrie.
But his bag, the bag.
Oh God, please don't have these bag Twitter clowns here again. But again, I'll say very simply, at the end of the day, you at some point in time you got to piss or get off the pot, and Kyrie has not pissed a drop since he left Cleveland, since he was no longer LeBron's Robin. So at this point, again, I'm not giving up big assets to get you. Either I'll get you a free agency or we just ain't going to see each other, brother. Chris, what you think about the Dallas Mavericks and how they moving right now?
I think it's the worst thing that could happen for them right now. So let me tell you paint the picture for the audience. They gave up draft capital and 2 quality role players for Kyrie Irving, knowing he was a free agent at the end of the year. Shut him down for the end of the season and let him watch the playoffs from home, and also watching the Lakers, watching the Suns, watching a lot of teams that are going to need a point guard pretty soon play in the playoffs is probably the worst thing that you could do. The worst thing. Even though you only got a 6% chance to make the playoffs right now, I think you go all in and try to win out. Because at least you can say, if we produce in the playoffs and get close to some teams, some contending teams, Kyrie might consider us. You shut down Kyrie and Luka, I don't think it's any way possible Kyrie signs back. But, us at Factor Rack, we loving this right now. Dallas losing and Luka getting knocked off that pedestal they protect him on, it's like the world going back to normal. It's like getting...
Nature is healing.
Oh, my goodness. Every year, Luka opens up as the MVP candidate favorite. And I'm like, what has Luka done in this league? To make him...
A broken clock is right twice a day. And that one time was Kendrick Perkins talking about the MVP conversation. Because the fact that in the history of the NBA, that we are looking at only 2 ever guys who won it 3 times straight, and those 2 being Larry Bird and Nikola Jokic, 2 guys that when it's all said and done, one of them it's already all said and done for, nobody discusses him as the best to ever play his position. Nobody.
Nope.
Nobody. And so
also, who was people would consider the greatest trash talker of the 80s.
Greatest trash talker of the 80s.
And he was praised for it.
And then you got Nikola Jokic, who, again, when it's all said and done, unless he goes on a crazy run and wins 6, there's no way he's going to be seen as the best center ever.
I will tell you, offensively, Jokic is one of the best decision makers and one of the best offensive centers I've ever seen with my own eyes. He's like if you took Pau Gasol and gave him the super soldier serum.
Listen, if we're talking solely offense, there's a very good argument that he's the best offensive center ever. And
at the same time, after the basketball I've watched this season, I'm gonna feel some kind of way if Jokic win MVP again. He's not MVP this year.
I'm just telling you what I know.
Bro. It's in
I'm
me,
just,
bro.
I'm just telling you.
Jokic is in third to me.
I'm just telling you what I know. And at the end of the day, we're looking at a situation where he could be the second ever, third, 3-time back-to-back guy. I'm just saying, Kendrick Perkins is wrong a lot. The man is wrong a lot. He had a moment where...
And JJ Redick actually pulled in the middle of the show, cut into him like, bro, we not going that route. And I'm like, JJ.
JJ can't relate. You a white man and went to Duke, bro. You cannot relate. You don't know what you're talking about in this regard. With all due respect, you don't know what you're talking about because you don't know what it's like to be that guy that's is not getting that respect for reasons that are beyond you. Everything that you did, even if you did it wrong, it was still, man, the way that JJ Redick takes a foul, man, I'll tell you what, he fouls the right way.
Oh, JJ Redick was tweaking in college.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of players that would not have made it to the NBA after doing what that man did.
That's my point exactly. Grayson Allen, same thing. I wonder what they have in common that, whatever they did, it was just like, it's all right. But I digress. All I'm saying is that's just ugly. But now, the race as a whole, folks, what do y'all think about this race? Who do y'all think is going to be in and out on that 6 to 10 line?
Real
or
quick,
5 to 10 actually.
Real quick, because I know we wrapping up soon. I think 1 through 4 stays the same in the West. Mm-hmm. I know I had them as that 1 seed going into the season, but right now, just because of how hot both of these teams are playing, how much time is left in the season and their schedules, I say Lakers 5, Golden State 6, Clippers 7, Pels 8, T-Wolves 9, Thunder 10, and honestly, it's more likely going to be Warriors 5, Lakers 6, but I really want to see. I feel like it'll be some really good series if we get Warriors Kings, because the Warriors could possibly win that series and go against the Grizzlies in the second round. And I think Lakers versus Suns would be an amazing series too.
I'm telling you this from the most genuine standpoint I know how. Those teams at that top, that Grizzlies Kings range, boy, they better be worried. 2 through 4? Yo, they might have some issues. 2 through 4 might be in trouble. Brother, if I see LeBron walking through and all I got is Shawn Michaels saying he don't want to go left, oh my God. Because now I know he going to do something petty like hit a game winner going to the left. I know it's going to happen.
When LeBron hit that buzzer beater to put the Raptors out of the play, he went left. Okay.
He was going left
just
and then hit it with his right hand.
just reminded myself. Almost forgot.
It said I practice that shot all the time. Knowing you don't practice that shot. Remember the three against the Magic. Which way was he going off that one?
He went left.
I'm telling you, Shawn Michaels needs to sit down.
Okay, now, am I tripping? Like, I'm not going to consider myself the biggest basketball expert in the world, but I do feel like if I sat down and studied it enough, I feel like I could be a basketball coach at some level. What's LeBron's signature move when he first came into the league off the triple threat? He would go around, shoulder you, and go left to the basket.
LeBron prefers left hand.
He's left-handed. He does everything else in life except shoot with his left hand. That's literally like, oh, Lord Jesus. The East is pretty much locked up, so we don't really need to talk too much about that because, I mean, we'll still break it down for y'all, but the East as it stands right now, 1 through 5 have all clinched playoff position. Bucks, Celtics, 76ers, Cavs, Knicks. You got the Nets sitting at 6. That's crazy.
That's because they went on that 21-3 streak.
Yeah.
That's true. You got the Heat behind them, the Hawks at 8. The Raptors have clinched play-in position. The Bulls and the Wizards are behind. Well, actually, the Wizards are pretty much eliminated.
Yeah, Wizards.
But 1 through 10 is pretty much sold up over there. I mean, Bulls, Raptors, Hawks, Heat, Nets, Knicks, Cavs, 76ers, Celtics, Bucks. So that's what we got going on in the East. I'm excited for these NBA.
Those top seeds are all going to win their series. With the Knicks and the Cavs will be interesting. At the same time, I wish they would flop because I would have really liked to see a Nets Cavaliers series. I know it sounds crazy, but I like basketball. I feel like that would have been a good basketball series.
You're not wrong. Listen, folks, we know y'all tired of us talking about who's gonna make it out the East, who's gonna make it out the West, who's gonna be who needs to get beat up, and why we need to put somebody in horny jail for what they said about Angel Reese when they came in here. But come on back next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Peace and love, y'all.